morning edition of the Field of 68 Best Bets podcast and Best Bets live stream. My name is Rob Dauster, the gentleman that you see with me rocking the Abilene Christian hat once again, the one and only Jeffrey Goodman.
It's not Abilene Christian, but we're going to call it the Abilene Christian hat.
Either Abilene Christian or Central Arkansas.
Well, it looks better like Abilene Christian, so we'll call it that.
I don't think you've ever actually told me what it is, so I'm just going.
I don't know what it is. I saw it. We were in Charleston.
If you don't know, then how do you know it's not Abilene Christian?
I know it's not Abilene. It's like an old school hat of like baseball or something. Some baseball team like
the Negro Leagues or something.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but I like the hat.
Yeah, it's not a bad hat. Solid hat. All right, we are sponsored by Bet Rivers. And yesterday I actually had a pretty good day on Bet Rivers. Jeffrey, you did not.
No,
a little bit.
I've had a bad week. I've had a bad week. I told you Saturdays are rough for me, but this whole week has probably been the worst week I've had all year. I mean, it definitely has been.
You know what you need for Saturdays? You need the discipline to be able to say, I'm not betting this. Yeah. I'm letting this one go. So if you guys, I'm sorry if you hear any noise in the background. We had to put a lock on the door of the office. Oh, there's my daughter. And my daughter is standing outside the door screaming right now, Dad, door, because she wants me to open the door. So that's why you hear all that yelling in the background. Anyway, I actually had a pretty good day yesterday. There were some mistakes that were made. Trusting Texas to make any kind of shots ever was a mistake. Yeah. Buying into the idea that Michigan State might actually be a good basketball team, huge mistake. I bet way too much money on Michigan State there. But I got bailed out by the fact that I went really, really heavy on the Duke, North Carolina over. I went really, really heavy on Marshall bouncing back. And I went really heavy on something else that I am blanking on at the moment. So I think I finished, like, my picks were about 500, but I ended up, like, I'm rallying. I'm coming back, Goodman.
All right. Well,
if it wasn't for that massive Marshall melt the other night, I'd be out of the hole. I'd be fully out of the hole.
Well, unfortunately, you didn't get that. You bounced back yesterday. All right, so give me your biggest takeaway from yesterday. It wasn't like a huge upset day. I mean, there were some, but like not these monumental upsets. I mean, again, Alabama losing at Missouri, Texas losing in Stillwater against Oklahoma State. There weren't Kansas. I mean, listen. To me, I think the biggest storyline now becomes, is Kansas in serious jeopardy, not just to falling out of the top 25? Could they be on the bubble at the end of the year if they continue this tailspin?
If they continue the tailspin, but I don't know if they are going to continue this tailspin. If you look at their schedule, hold on, I'm going to bring it up right now.
Well, it does TCU about 4 more times in Kansas State because they're going to need to.
Well, I mean, here's what they get next. They get Oklahoma State at home. Then they have Iowa State on Thursday and Iowa State on Saturday, and then Kansas State next Tuesday. So so
they'll be fine.
So like their next 4 games, like they have their little get right stretch here. And if they beat Iowa State twice and Kansas State once, that gets them to 9 wins. If you get to 9 wins, 12, and your name is Kansas, you're getting to the NCAA tournament. Especially when you have wins over Kentucky and Creighton and Texas Tech and West Virginia and Oklahoma. Like they're. Yes. I don't think there's any chance that Kansas ends up missing the NCAA tournament. But that said, like if the bottom falls out, let's just say that like they go in and they get blasted by Cade Cunningham and Oklahoma State, like the confidence is completely shot. They end up losing one of those 2 games to Iowa State. Then
they're in trouble.
Then we can start having that conversation. But I don't think that they are there. So my biggest takeaway was that Tennessee's back, baby. Tennessee is back. Look, I was a little bit too early on my take on it. They're back.
You're an absolute jackass. You know that? You are a jackass.
In all seriousness, though, I thought
they got dominated by 30 minutes by Kentucky.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Then Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer woke up. Like, there's been 2 things that we've been waiting for out of Tennessee all season long. It's Keon Johnson and Jaden Springer to play like the 5-star studs that they are, right? And they did. They completely took that game over down the stretch over the final 8 minutes. And the other part of it is for Rick Barnes. Go ahead.
Against Kentucky, they're 5-13. They stink.
But you have to start somewhere.
Oh my God!
Right? You have to start somewhere. Like it's a confidence thing for them. It's a belief that they are good enough to go out and do this. And the other part of it is that they need to fully buy into this idea that like they have to play East Pons at the 5. They have to play Josiah Jordan-James at the 4. They have to play Keon and Jaden together as wings, and then they have to put a point guard out there, whether it's Victor Bailey or Santiago Vescovi, like whatever it is. Like you have to go full small. I don't think that you can play with John Fulkerson and EJ Anasicki out there because you already have issues with shooting, and they just clog up the lane even more. If you put 5 wings around the perimeter, at least there's going to be some driving lanes, and you're not going to have a post just kind of there taking up space, especially if Fulkerson is not.
I only have one question for you. I only have one question for you in Tennessee. Does Rick Barnes have pictures of you?
Yes, he does.
I mean, he must.
Compromising pictures.
Like he must have a shit ton on you right now.
Oh, he does. Like it's bad. It's bad. It's embarrassing. I gotta keep hyping him up. He's got even more on me than Brian Hodgson and Nate Oates do at Alabama.
Seriously, this is tough. I mean, this is really you just flip back based on 10 minutes against a 5-13 Kentucky squad.
Oh yeah. Hey, look, you can never let the takes die. You can never let if you're all late on 10, like I gotta write this thing out, man. I don't really have a choice. I need.
You're gonna ride out Pittsburgh too?
No, like
you're done. You're done.
I'm not worried. I didn't go all in on Pittsburgh. Like I said,
Tennessee.
After they beat Duke, I had one tweet where I was like, I don't think anyone is good in the ACC. And I said, I'm not totally convinced that Pitt isn't the best team in the ACC. That's what I said. I said, I'm not totally convinced that Pitt isn't. That was like, there's no conviction in that statement. And of course, Brian Snow sees it and says, like, I picked Pitt to win the national championship. He's the worst. He's like, he grabs onto one little thing and he's never going to let it go. I'm going to have to hear
all you have to do.
You know what's going to happen? I'm going to be 50 years old. The field of 68 is going to take over ESPN. I'm still going to get texts from Brian Snow on that fucking group chat where it's like, hey, you think Pitt's going to win the national title this year? That's what's going to happen.
Sorry, just say whenever Snow says anything to you, all you have to do is respond with 4 letters. Scal.
Yeah, I do this.
Scal. Period.
I do that, man. It's great.
Then it's over. Whatever the argument is, it ends with Scal.
All right. What else did you have from yesterday?
I mean, you got to talk to Carolina. I mean, you got to. It's still, and I got some pushback when I said it was the best win of the day. But like with that rivalry, with the fact that Carolina beat Duke at Cameron and ultimately might have pushed them out of the tournament. Like that's the thing. If Carolina can sweep Duke, they could take credit for basically saying, you know what, we knocked Duke out of the NCAA tournament. Like, what's better than that? That's better than anything else you could do all season long. No?
It's great for the rivalry. I don't think that it is like the best win kind of a thing. Like I would put it, yeah. It was a lot of fun. Like I wasn't expecting that, but it ended up being like crazy competitive and the how do I phrase this politely? It wasn't played in a very well executed manner, but it was played in fun. It was fun to watch. It was back and forth. There was scoring. Caleb Love woke up, and I'll tell you this, Jeff. If Caleb Love, I'm not expecting him to go for like 25 and 7 every night, right? But if he can play somewhere close to that level, like that kind of changes what North Carolina can be. And all of a sudden, like especially if Kerwin Walton is knocking down jumpers, like all of a sudden they become a really interesting team. Like if you got Caleb Love as the guy that can get you 16 and 6, right? You have a front court rotation that includes Day'Ron Sharpe, Armando Bacot, and Garrison Brooks. Kerwin Walton is making shots, and Leaky Black is just doing like Leaky Black things. Like just if he's just being a good defender, an athlete on the wing, and a guy that can be a secondary playmaker in the half court, he doesn't even have to make shots. Like if you got that,
they're top.
All of a sudden, like they're a team that like can make some noise. I'm not saying like a Final Four or anything like that.
No, but they may be the third best team in the ACC or something like that. Like anybody can win the ACC tournament. Like that's the one thing this year. Anybody can win the ACC tournament. Like, obviously, you're going to take Virginia and Florida State probably if you're betting on it. But ultimately, you wouldn't be surprised if Carolina wins it. Pitt, your Pitt team, could they win it?
Why not?
Why not? Why not?
Whichever Champagne is on that roster, he's a stud. He's a top 5 player in the ACC right now. So yeah, they can go. Whatever his name is and whichever one it is, like there's no way I'm ever going to remember. Which one is he?
Brothers McMullen. Remember the movie The Brothers?
Oh, I know. There's 2 of them, but I just which one plays for Pitt and which one plays for St. John's?
Julian plays for St. John's.
Are you 100% positive?
Yes.
Okay.
And there's actually
I'm never going to be 100% positive on that one, so I'm just going to go with the Champagne kid on that team.
I think Fana and Demetrius might have them as guests this week potentially.
Oh, that's a nice little tease right there. I see what you did, Jeffrey.
Would be huge. I mean, seriously, that might be the best part of the week. And Hummel and I already have Chris Holtman on for tomorrow, so that's
well. The problem is Robbie Hummel's going to be on that podcast, so it's kind of limited in what it can be. All right, there's 3 other games, actually 4 other games that I want to touch on.
Can I give you a tease though on the Holtman podcast?
Yeah, give me a tease.
We might have a sensational Chris Holtman story if he tells it tomorrow. Sensational.
I know the story that you're talking about. Is it the one?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
The one when he interviewed.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Please.
I told you this.
Please. Oh, I know it. I told you this.
No. I got it. Like.
You sure?
Yeah. From the horse.
Okay. Whatever. Just get him to tell the story.
I'm gonna try. I'm working on it. I'm working.
All right. So 3.
If he has a few beers during the Super Bowl, we'll be fine.
Yeah. There's 4 games that we need to talk about beyond this. First one is, I guess we could talk about them both at the same time. Are you worried about Alabama or Texas more?
I'm worried about Alabama. I am. Like, I still don't trust their bad habits. That's my problem with Alabama is there's still too many years of bad defensive habits. And other than Herb Jones, I don't trust any of those guys to lock down. And they don't. Like Petty, like I like John Petty, but I'm not convinced John Petty, like every time out, is going to give you an A-level effort on the defensive end. He's going to I think his offense dictates his defense. And, I just, without Bruner, like I think when they get Bruner back, I'll feel so much better about them. Like to me, they've kind of played with a little bit of fire, gotten away with some things over the last couple of weeks and won games for the most part, other than the Big 12 SEC Challenge game. And it caught up with them. It caught up with them yesterday. Like they weren't playing great basketball.
It was also like another one of those weird start times, 11 a.m. local time, traveling. Like, so I can kind of understand it to a point. And slow starts in an era where you're not playing in packed gyms, when you're playing an early tip, when you kind of have the SEC already wrapped up. Right. Like I don't. They're going to have to lose like 3 more games at least, maybe 4 more games to not win the SEC regular season title. And like if you're Alabama, like how hard are you playing at this point? Like, so I kind of get it.
You're playing for a number 1 seed, so you should be playing.
Yeah, you should. But I mean, when you're playing for seeding, that only takes like when you're playing for a championship, that's a certain level of motivation for the players, right? Like if you're only playing for seeding, like that only gets you so fired up. So like I kind of get it a little bit, especially like in an era where everybody's kind of doing some isolation and you're not really getting to experience life the way that you want to experience. Like it's tough. It's hard. So I kind of get it. They're still just as dangerous as they've always been, but like they got to get that figured out. Hopefully they didn't peak at the wrong time. Texas, I am not that concerned about. They've won their last 5. But yesterday, like they shot 5 for 35 from 3. They were 20 for 79 from the floor. They shot 25%. They went 0 for 12 from the field in overtime. And the shots that they were getting were not bad shots. They were getting good looks. Andrew Jones, Courtney Ramey, and Matt Coleman combined to go 3 for 26 from 3. And I would say that at least half of those were good looks, very makeable looks. If they shoot half of their normal percentage, right, they win that game in regulation and they covered the spread. I
mean, Cade tried to hand it to him a little bit there. I mean, he couldn't make a shot.
Cade Cunningham was legitimately terrible in that game.
Yeah, he wasn't good. I mean, listen, you make a great defensive play, then you miss the layup, like a horrible pass.
And that's also like that's not a shot on him. Like everybody in the planet is allowed to have bad nights and bad games.
Yes.
And that just happened to be both teams played.
Caleb Boone was great.
But you know what? We called that one. Remember, we were like, yeah, Greg Brown knows him as well as anybody. So we kind of called that one. But
listen, I just think, again, to me, the difference between number 4. This is what we're talking. Number 3 in the country, and number 25 is as small as it's probably ever been. And that's where we're at right now. When I'm doing rankings every day, it's like, does it even matter? Like, honestly, the spots, especially when you go from like, again, Alabama, Texas, Ohio State, they've kind of solidified themselves, or they had before yesterday. These teams in the middle, the Wisconsins, the Missouris, the Oklahomas, the Virginia Techs, Tennessee, Oklahoma State, they're all throw them in a hat right now. Throw them in a hat. It doesn't matter. They're all about the same. It's a matter of timing, when you're peaking, injuries, who you're playing.
COVID pauses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Right. Absolutely. I mean, look at Villanova right now, right?
Yeah. So I agree with you wholeheartedly, and I wrote a column yesterday about it that basically said Baylor and Gonzaga are both like historically good. There's only 2 teams that were better than both of them in terms of efficiency margin in KenPom's database. That was 2015 Kentucky and 2008 Kansas. And the gap between them and the rest of the field is enormous. So my take is that after those 2, there are a bunch of teams that are like a typical 3 seed, right? So it's like when we say there's a third best team, yes, someone is going to be the best of that group. But the idea that they are as good as a typical third best team in the country is just like that's not the way it is. There's 2 great teams and then a bunch of teams that would normally be in that 10 to 15 range. And if we saw teams in that 10 to 15 range like losing on the road to like a tournament team, like that's not really all that shocking, right? That's just kind of what happens in college basketball once you get out of the elite tier. So it's nothing that happens outside of those top 2 teams is really all that surprising to me. So like Alabama losing at Missouri, yeah, that's going to happen. Texas losing at Oklahoma State, yeah, shit like that is going to happen. All right, 2 more games we got to mention, and then we can get to today's slate. Kansas, West Virginia. We talked about that a little bit, but I do just want to shout out West Virginia, completely changing what they did in the middle of the season, doing it well, and they're dangerous, man. When they can shoot like that, they are very, very dangerous. And the other one is USC pulled even with UCLA in the Pac-12 title race.
Wait, the Pac-12 is playing basketball this year?
Allegedly. I keep seeing like Bill Walton with sunglasses on with like green smoothies on TV, and it's like in between weird basketball clips. So I think that they're playing. I don't really know though. I can't tell. A little bit. He's a little bit too lifted, shall we say, on those broadcasts for me to understand what's really going on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the league's still probably going to get 4 in. I bet UCLA, USC, Colorado, and I mean, Oregon's a tough one. Oregon or Stanford, I would say one of those 2. But when you've got Oregon State at 6-5 in your league right now, your league's not very good. The bottom stinks. I mean, honestly, Cal, Washington State, Arizona State has been a train wreck. Utah's not very good, and Arizona's 7-6, and they're not eligible for the postseason anyway. Yeah, I mean, to me, hey, here's my big question for you. If you're Kansas today, do you self-impose the postseason ban? Why not? Seriously, why not? I mean, you destroy these poor kids. Like, it's wrong to do to the kids, no doubt. But I'm saying from a business decision, do you just do it and say, hey, we'll take one of the years now. You want to hand us another one? At least we're not going to have a 2-year postseason ban at that point because they're going nowhere this year in the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I probably would. The thing about it, like I had a conversation with I don't know if I want to say, but one of the coaches that's dealing with this, right? And he was basically like, the reason why people will make this decision to self-impose these bans is because they want to plead guilty and get it over with. He said what kills the program is the fact that something like this will drag on forever. We're in year 4. It happened in 2017.
Well, that's where it's killing Kansas right now.
And so, like
Kansas,
so like the having this hanging over the head of the program is as bad as any punishment that the NCAA can hand out. And this coach was basically like, yeah, like we're the reason why you would do this is to get out from under it and just say, we fucked up. We did something wrong.
You're not going to get out under
the punishment for it.
But it doesn't necessarily do that because you'll still have other people saying, well, they self-imposed, but they could get hit harder than one.
Yeah, of course. But it's to start that process and try to get it done over with. And like, look, Kansas is probably going to have the hammer dropped on them. There's other programs like Arizona probably is going to get hit pretty hard too. But there's other programs that were like tangentially involved in this, like Oklahoma State, right? Like they're getting
hit right. They already got hit by a year of postseason ban. Now I don't know if they're going to end up having to serve it or when they're going to serve it. But if they got hit, and like you said, they were like the least complicit.
It's a joke. We don't have to go down that road because it pisses me off when we talk about it. And
I'm with you. All I'm saying is, if I'm Kansas, I might just do it now, and you'll get crushed for it. Now the problem is they're not going to do it because what they're saying ultimately they're saying, hey, we're not like the other schools here. We didn't do anything. We didn't know of anything, and you can't call TJ Gassnell and Adidas a booster because if you try to do that, then Nike's a booster for Oregon, for Kentucky, or whatnot. So anyway, all right, we won't move on to that.
It completely kills their argument. Let's talk about before we do that, I just want to shout out to Evan Batty real quick. I don't know if you saw this at the end of last night. You were probably getting your beauty sleep. This was an 11 o'clock tip. No chance that you were awake then.
No, I didn't.
So Colorado's up big. They blow a lead against Arizona, right? They come back, they fight back, they take a 1-point lead. They're up 80-79. Evan Batty gets a defensive rebound with like 5 seconds left, gets his knee rolled up on. And like, I don't know if he actually heard it, if he's just the kind of kid that like, if he's got some that like Jalen Suggs in him where, did
it look like he was like going to be out for 2 seasons?
Well,
the way he reacted, is that what you're saying?
Well, I mean, he went down. It looked real bad. Like someone rolled up on his knee and like it bent the knee in a way that the knees are not supposed to bend. And he was limping really, really badly walking down the court. But he walked to the free throw line and like while like fighting back tears on the free throw line, knocked down both ends of a 1-on-1 and then immediately got taken out. So they're up 3 and they end up winning the game, which was like, I don't know how badly he was hurt. I've been searching it on Twitter. I haven't seen any updates. He walked off the floor under his own power after the game, but like he was hurting, and he still knocked down 2 free throws. So
I saw the score. I was watching the score, but I wasn't.
Yeah, I do want to shout at him like that. That's fucking tough, man. All right, let's talk about today's slate. It's pretty limited. Obviously, it's Super Bowl Sunday. We're gonna have to get your picks on that, by the way, Jeffrey. So be ready.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Iowa, Indiana. The last time that these 2 teams played, Indiana went on a 23-2 run in the second half to run Iowa out of their own gym. It's a little bit of a revenge game spot. Last time that they played, Trace Jackson Davis kind of gave it to Luka Garza a little bit. The Iowa Hawkeyes had no idea what to do with the offense that Indiana was running against their zone. So where do you stand on this matchup today, Jeffrey?
I like Iowa here. I mean, they've lost 3 or 4. I think this is a huge spot for the Hawkeyes here. If they keep losing like this, you were talking at one point that this Iowa team was in line potentially as a number 1 seed, right? It wasn't that long ago that we were talking about them having a shot. And now they lose today. You're talking about them being in that same group we talked about, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it's Oklahoma State or Tennessee or Virginia or West Virginia, like just throw them in the hat with everybody else. But the difference for Iowa is they can't guard. And to me, that's going to be the biggest thing today is how do they come out? How do they defend if they're going to play the same damn zone that frustrates the hell out of us? We know that. Now, Indiana generally can't shoot the ball. Generally, that's been their mantra for the most part. They've had their nights. They've had their games. But they are a team that you dare to shoot the ball from the perimeter because they don't have a lot of guys that can do that. So
yeah, and they really shot it well in that first game too.
Right.
Really shot it well.
The key, too, is CJ Frederick going to play, and is he going to be healthy? Like, they need him. They need all their guys, but I think CJ Frederick is really, really important for Iowa because he does everything. Like, he doesn't do one thing great, but, like, to me, he's a solid defender, which is better than some on that team. He knows how to move the ball. He can make open shots. He can drive it. I just think he's – like the sum of their parts is so important for Iowa. And to me, again, I'm not saying he should be starting even, but to have him on the floor is important. So I don't know if he'll be able to play today, but I think that would be important if they had him.
I disagree with the sentiment that he's a solid defender. I don't think that he's very good, but it's the fact that he's like, if he gets any amount of space, like he's making the shot, like it's going in. So having that kind of a threat on the floor with Luka Garza in the post, By the way, I don't know if this is actually Diamond Stone, but someone named whose Twitter name is Diamond Stone jumped in the chat and said Jeff Goodman is a clown. So
I love Diamond Stone. I saw Diamond Stone when he was like a freshman in college.
I hung out with Bob Stone once at the how about this at the TGI Fridays in
Bob Stone. Bob
yeah,
Stone.
Yeah, the Diamond's dad.
I didn't even know Bob.
I'm pretty sure it's Bob, but it was at some under. I think
it was Bob Stone, and you don't say who it was. Like
I just
like
figured you
knows
like, I was talking about.
Is?
Yeah, I just figured everyone would put that. All right, so I hung out with Diamond Stone's dad. It was at the like the Reebok All American camp or something like that in Philly at the TGI Fridays on City Ave in Philadelphia, the one that like Allen Iverson used to go to and drop like 50 grand a night there. And let me tell you, like that TGI Fridays is unlike any TGI Fridays on the planet. Like that place was jumping. They had a DJ, they had a dance floor. Like me and Bob Stone had a great night.
Was TGI Fridays out there? Was Bob Stone out there on the dance floor?
No. We were kind of we were wallflowers that night, but like we got like 9 different appetizers. You know, like it was great.
Diamond Stone. I'll give you a quick story. I flew the only time I've ever flown private. I flew private once from one AAU tournament to another, and it was to see Luke Kennard and Diamond Stone. And I said it was to see Luke Kennard, the coach that I went with, but I ended up seeing both of them. They were like, I think they had just finished their freshman year of high school. They were going into their sophomore year. Diamond Stone was the number 1 player in the country. And I walked away from that saying, like, I love Luke Kennard. Like, I thought Luke Kennard was the best player in the country coming out of that. He was so damn good. Anyway, all right, let's finish this today's.
So I'm going to push back on you. I like Indiana in that spot. I'm in full fade Iowa mode.
CJ Frederick not playing.
CJ Frederick, yeah. So I'm in full Iowa fade mode.
You are,
yeah. So I'm gonna take Indiana. I'm gonna go. It's gonna be small, but I'm gonna take the Indiana money line.
Okay. All right.
I'm in full Indiana fade mode. What else do you like?
I like.
There's one other high major game that I'm really interested in. I told you about this off air.
I like Wichita given 8.5 against Temple. Temple has played. So far, since they came back from their pause, they've played Tulane and Cincy at home and lost to both. That is not good, in case you're wondering. And playing at the Roundhouse, I think they have fans there too. Pretty sure. So I like Wichita giving 8.5 there. I like Boise. They lost right? Didn't they lose to Nevada the other night? Lost the other night.
There we go.
Ding ding.
The noties.
Ding ding ding. Boise giving 5 to Nevada. I think they're going to get a little payback on Stevie Alford there and Derek Olson and company. They need that too. Like Boise needs.
Nevada beat them the other night. Did you see that?
That's what I said. Yeah.
Boise had a 3 at the buzzer that would have won it. Go like in and around and off the backboard and back in again. Like I've never seen a shot that was like that far in that didn't go in, except for like maybe Grayson Allen's in the Elite 8 back in 2018. But you missed the best bet of the day. You haven't even gotten it yet.
If Boise, listen, the only thing I'll say is if Boise wants to be an at-large team, they need to win this game. They can't.
Yeah, they do. They do. They can't lose this game. You missed the best bet of the day.
The best.
You haven't gotten there yet. I told you what it is.
Yeah, the only
you cannot give Patrick Ewing 13.5 points ever.
Wow, look at you.
You cannot give Patrick Ewing 13.5 points. That's what the line is right now, courtesy of our friends over at Bet Rivers. You cannot give Patrick Ewing 13.5 points.
A lot of points. Is he going to play? Is Patrick Ewing going to play today? If he's going to play, I agree with you.
I don't know. I think it will bring him down, man. Kudus Wahab is the next great Georgetown big man.
Imagine what Patrick Ewing would do to Jeremiah Robinson Earl. Imagine he would back Jeremiah Robinson Earl down. It would feed him in the post, and he would dunk over Jeremiah. No disrespect to Jeremiah. Seriously, Patrick Ewing would dunk over him today at whatever age he is. 55? What is Patrick Ewing?
Might be older than that. He was in college in the mid-'80s.
All right, maybe he wouldn't. Maybe he wouldn't dunk over him today. But
all right. So the reason why I like this is just Villanova wants to kind of slow it down, and they tend to be able to slow down the game against teams that aren't going to try to turn them over. And Georgetown right now is 344th nationally in defensive turnovers. Like, they don't force turnovers at all. So Villanova is going to be able to slow this thing down and run their offense and get the shots that they want. And I would expect this game to be played in like the high 60s to low 70s. And to me, 13.5 points is just too many points against the Georgetown team that, like, they played really well the first time these two teams played. They beat Providence at home the other night. They went into Creighton, knocked off Creighton the other night. So I think that they're a little bit better than what maybe the metrics say that they are. And I think they'll be able to keep this thing close. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I think that 13 points is too many points in this spot.
All right, last one I have is Quinnipiac over Fairfield. And Quinnipiac hasn't played since January 23rd, but Fairfield hasn't played since January 16th. So both teams have been in a pause. Usually that 2-week run is okay. You can kind of come back from that. When you get beyond that, it takes a while to get back. So I'm going Quinnipiac laying the 3 at Fairfield against the Fighting Jay Youngs today. And
there's one other bounce back spot we got to talk about.
Yeah, I think I know what it is, but I'm not going there.
Drake? Is that what you're looking at?
No.
Drake at Valpo yesterday trailed most of the game, ended up coming back and winning, but they did not come close to covering. It's 12.5 tonight. Where do you stand? Is that interesting to you?
No, not at all. Not at all. I'm not a fan of it at all. I don't love it. I'm not touching it.
What about Loyola?
Hey, you should really take the Cal Stanford game though.
No.
Why? It gives you something to look forward to after the Super Bowl, I think.
Well,
right?
what's going to happen is I'm going to lose a bunch of money betting on the Super Bowl, and then I'm going to have something where I need to rally on it. So actually, you're right. Let's go Stanford.
That's what I'm saying. You should go big or go home. And to me, if you're going to go big here, you take the points. Take the points. Take Cal 10.5. So anybody who gets pummeled in the Super Bowl, again, if you want to make it all back, so that's
what we need right now. Real quick, my picks are: I have the Indiana money line. I'm going small on that. Don't bet too big on it. I got Georgetown plus 13.5, and then I'm going to parlay Loyola covering and Drake covering. Just both. Neither of them covered the other night. They're the two best teams in the conference. Todd Licklider's done a great job with Evansville this year in the spot that they're in, but I just think that Loyola gets this thing done. Fade the bounce backs. Remember.
All right, I'm going Iowa, Quinnipiac, Wichita, Boise, and I'm going to throw Cal on there just in case I don't have too much alcohol or I have a tough Super Bowl.
All right, Super Bowl picks. Let's go. What do you got? Let me get out of here.
I mean, I'm taking Mahomes. I'm laying the points. I'm taking Kansas City, and I'm also going with the over on Mahomes' passing yards. I just think he's going to have a big day against the old man. I just don't think the old man wins another one here. 43 years old. The only other thing I kind of liked, the other prop, was I think Brady's rushing yards was 0.5. I like the over there. Usually he'll get a yard. He'll get one sneak at some point, and he'll get the full yard. So I like Brady there.
What's going to be funny is he's gonna sneak for a yard. Then they're going to win, and he's going to take 3 kneels, and he's going to lose the yard. And you're going to lose that bet. That's what I'm rooting for.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm taking the Chiefs. I'm taking the over. I would take the over on all of the Kansas City, like any prop that you want to bet on.
Everything you want. Kelsey, Tyreek. It doesn't matter.
I kind of – this feels like a game where Kansas City is going to put up like 40 points. So that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Mahomes has started slow traditionally this year a little bit, but I don't know if he does that today. I think they come out and again, to me, their rushing attack isn't what it was earlier in the season when they had both guys. So I think he's going to have to throw the ball more.
All right, Jeffrey.